Welcome to the weekly design exercise from the Graphic Design School. My name is Anouk, and during this DEX we will create the shape of an animal, a person or an object with a type fill, such as the one you are seeing right here. For the first part you will need the internet, a printer, paper, pencils, tracing paper and the black marker. And once the design sketch is ready, we will take it into Adobe Illustrator. Before you start, make sure you read the brief so you know the design goals, the constraints and the allocated time. This brief contains an exercise for 3 different levels of design experience, so just pick the level that fits you. So let's get going. I am surrounded by tempting chocolate Easter eggs at the moment. So for the example in this DEX, I've chosen to design an Eastern bunny and apply the text "Somebody loves you" to it for a postcard. A great way for you guys to get inspired is to use the internet and just search for, on Pinterest for example, search for words like type as shape, text in shapes, etc. You will need to develop the outlines of the shape you are going to use in your design. And for those of you who are enrolled in or maybe already finished the Graphic Design School, you probably remember the module on design systems, where you had to choose an animal and look for images, and I suggest to use that similar research approach. So let's take a look at the bunny. I wanted a very basic shape and one that is very similar to the common shapes of those chocolate bunnies during Easter that are sold everywhere, just to stay within the Easter theme. So for you it's also important to find a photo to trace that shows your animal or your item in a position that clearly shows the main features, so it is easy recognizable. So with this bunny, for example, I wanted to have it from the side so you could see the shape of the head, the shape of the ears, the little bunny tail. So everything was clearly visible. So this was then, after tracing the images of different bunnies, I thought this was the most clear shape that I could use. And I also wanted to show you then how I proceeded. I often just use tracing paper. Maybe some of you have a tracing box which you can use. And I started sketching some ideas. I wrote down the line that I wanted to use, and you don't need that much. I just had my pencil and eraser with me and started experimenting a little bit on how I could place the different letters, what kind of letters I could use, how it all fits in. Just started playing around with it. And decided that because the theme was love as well, decided that these ears look like the shape of a little heart. So I decided to start off with a little heart and then started sketching away. I'll show you a couple of photos that I took of the different sketches that I made. Here I filled the whole shape. And then after doing this one, I started again with tracing paper, tracing that one and improving it. I wanted the letters to be a bit closer, better shaped, so you could still read it. Here is one that I did without the lines that I traced of the bunny, just to see if it still worked, if it was still clearly a bunny. I used a black marker and filled the different letters black, just to see how that worked. And I tried different sorts of ideas. So this is one that I did with the idea of filling it completely with very more feminine small letters, and I just repeated the same line over and over again in different ways. And here I traced it again with a black marker to see how that worked. I also did a bigger version of these kind of letters to check how that would work. Another option was to do it a bit more organized by dividing, as I had 4 words, dividing the bunny in 4 parts and really give each letter some space. And then I started filling up the spaces. So here I decided to see what happened if I would make an S and use that little, the shape of the ears as an S. And here I just deleted some space and then created some letters. which in parts worked well, but I was struggling a lot to get the B over here, so I wasn't really happy with that. But yeah, this is just to show you different ways, different approaches. Just start playing around, erase it, start over again. You've got tracing paper, so you can just retrace the parts that you're happy with and try to rearrange other letters. And when you are happy with one of your sketches and it's done, the sketching work, you can take it into Adobe Illustrator. Here are the ones that I made, and I took them into Adobe Illustrator. I decided in the end to use this one, the first one, to continue my work, because I like the fact how these bold, more cool letters contrast with the cuteness of this little chocolate bunny. And I thought these ones were all getting a bit too cute, too much cuteness for me. So this is the one I started using. And before I continue, I just wanted to show you how you can take your sketches into Adobe Illustrator, because there's several ways you can do that. So one way to upload your sketches into Adobe Illustrator is to use Adobe Capture. This is an app you can put on your phone or your pad, and it helps you to quickly take a photo of your work. It makes it a vector, and then you can even directly upload it in your Adobe Illustrator. It's really easy. I just recently started using it, so I'm not an expert yet, but I think it's pretty handy. And it's for free. So if you have a membership with the full Adobe package, this app you can download for free and use. So that's one way of doing it. Another way is, and I think most of you are familiar with that one, is just to put a scan of your work, or make a scan of your work, and open the file in Adobe Illustrator. So this is the scan of the sketch that I made. And when you select it, you can go and image trace up here. And that will convert the image into a vector. So let's image trace. And there you go. Let's take a closer look. It's now traced, and it looks pretty good. If you want to adjust it, you can still do that. If you, for example, go here to preset, there's different options. So for me, I think black and white logo is a good preset. And there's more you can adjust. So here, image trace, click. There's all these settings that you can adjust and play around with. If this one is not popping out yet, you can click this little arrow, advanced, and there's more options. So you can play around with these settings to see if it gets better or improved, depending on what you have designed. For me, this all looks good. I don't think we need to adjust a lot. Let's see the corners. I don't want a lot of emphasis there, so let's see what happens. Doesn't really matter. This reduces the noise a little bit. I want it a fill. Goes to lines here. Okay. So when you're ready, click on it. You still need, it's not done yet, you need to click expand. And there you go. Now you can see you have your vector. And when I zoom in, yeah, I still need to do some refinement. So this one isn't very nicely done. Here's a little thingy that I need to change. I don't think I want to keep the eye, but I'll have do some thinking about that. I think I'm gonna adjust some elements. So I go to Direct Selection Tool, or A. Now you can see all the points. I'm gonna delete this. So that is one way of doing it, using image trace, but take into account that often you will still have to refine it and to make it perfect. There's another way, and that is also by using the scan that you made. So here's back to the original, and use your pen tool and trace the outlines of your sketch. So the pen tool, here it is. You can also go P, and then you can start by tracing the outline of your sketch. Okay, a quick jump ahead. Once you are ready and you've got your image ready, there's several things you can do. You can decide that it's perfect like this, you're done. But of course, there's much more that you can do. Just a couple of examples. There's many, many more. I'm curious to see what you will do. But you could give it a colored fill with gradients, for example. You could use a photo and make a clipping mask. So here I used a photo of the fur of a rabbit. That's now behind the image, or do it the other way around. But there's many more. I will just really quickly show you a couple of examples how to do it. So if this is the fur and you want to fill your image with the fur, you could do it like this. Drag your design on top of the photo. Let's see. Okay, select both. Go to Object. Here's Clipping Mask. Make. There it is. And this bunny has a texture, which I can show you a bit better if I zoom in. So here you can see some texture added to the bunny. There's also an easy way to do this in Illustrator. Textures are often added in Photoshop, but the benefit of doing it in Illustrator is that your image maintains a vector. So let's see, if we want to have this effect, I'm just gonna move this to the side. And we'll start with a fresh one. Okay, just gonna give it a different color. Go to swatches, I like this one. And now I need to add an extra bunny. So I'm gonna copy, Command C. I'm gonna paste it in front, Command F. So now you can see I have two layers. I'm gonna work with the front one. First I'm gonna add a gradient and use the gradient tool. Needs to be a linear one. And this side is yellow, I want that one. I'm just gonna add yellow there. And then this one is opacity 100%, and this one, no, I don't need an extra one. This one needs to be a 0%. So we have done that. Now I'm gonna go to Appearance. And if you can't find these tools on the right side, you can go to Window, and they are all there. And then we go to here. We're going to add a new effect. Go to texture, grain. Here you can see the effects. These are the settings that you can play around with. I've got the grain type. I prefer to use the sprinkles, but there's several ones. Just have a look and see what happens. These settings are all good for me. Okay, there we go. Now you have to make sure that the grain effect is going to be part of the fill. So I'm just going to move it up. And then I'm going to look at the opacity, which is on normal, and I want that to be overlay. And there we are. We have the texture on the bunny, and you can really easily change it around. So if I would go to gradient, good. Move this one to the right side, so now the gradient comes in much further. Could change the color to, well, let's say blue. So as you can see, you can still easily change it and play around with it. And now it's time for you to get started. As you can read in the brief, there's different levels, so pick the one that fits you. Some of you will also create a mock-up, so think about how you can use your design on a wishing well card maybe, or develop it into a poster or an outdoor ad for product packaging, or maybe you can turn it into a great logo. That's it for now. Good luck, and it will be great to see your designs. We're very curious to see them, so don't forget to share them. And we'll see you at the next decks. Bye!